Well, good evening, good people. It is, wow, Victory Monday. It's been so few and far between of these that I don't even know how to say it. It's almost like a shock to say it. It's like a kid at Christmas. We got a victory. There's a lot of people out there saying that the Cowboys should just be losing and everything else. I just can't. I just can't. It's just too damn hard for me. Okay? All right? The off season is going to be the off season, but right now I just need to have, some peace of mind to say, okay, we're not completely, inept. So it is that time of the day where we're going to do it to ourselves. I hate to do this, but I have to do this because, say what you will about Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones, if you really want to know what the Cowboys are doing, you have to listen to Stephen Jones. When Jerry said, we're going all in, and everybody thought that meant we're going to go ahead and get a whole bunch of free agents, yes, and things, Stephen Jones was the one who kind of said, well, I don't ever know a time where Jerry Jones hasn't been all in. In other words, it's going to be the status quo, which is exactly what it was. So you have to listen to him to kind of get a real read for what's going on, as opposed to what you get from all the talk shows and things. Right now it's the beginning of silly season where everybody's got their conspiracy theories and this thing that the Cowboys are going to do or that thing they're going to. If I had $1 for every time somebody said that Mike McCarthy was going to get fired or was not going to be the coach of the Cowboys over the last 5 years, I'd have a stack. I could go to the club, and make it rain, literally. So Stephen Jones gets actually asked quite a few questions about the whole Micah Parsons thing, about the money situation, as far as the offseason goes. The team is where they stand right now. And so I got myself, I'm going to do this to myself because I got one of my Basic City brews here. I drank one yesterday. First time I've had a beer in forever, and I'm figuring the best way to go through a press to go through a Stephen Jones interview is with alcohol. So let's get to it, and we'll respond to different points throughout.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great. Was this the best football weekend for you with the Cowboys winning and the crazy ending to the Highland Park Denton Ryan game? How football happy are you right now?
Well, it all went our way, which is a good thing. And thought our Scots went out and played a heck of a game. They deserved to win that game, and kicker came through for them. And then, of course, the Cowboys, I thought, went out and, other than a really rough 45 seconds at the end of the first half, I thought, played about as good a football as we probably played all year.
You'll probably have to censor it, but what went through your head during that rough 45 seconds at the end of the first half?
Oh, it was it was kind of not shocking based on how our season's gone with our challenges with injuries and other things along the way. So it's kind of said, shit, this game's falling right in line with what can go wrong, will go wrong. But my hat's off to Mike. He went in, got him going at halftime, and of course the third quarter before we went on this run has been a rough quarter for us. And I thought we played as good a third quarter as we had all year and really answered the bell, in terms of the adversity there at that last 45 seconds. But it was kind of a jaw dropper to, not only not get any points there at the end, but then turn around and give up a huge play to end the half. So, but again, my hat's off to both sides of the ball that came out and played a dominant third quarter and really, took control of the game.
Yeah, it was nice to get that turnaround for sure. Steven, Rico seems like a good runner. And I know the opportunities weren't there early in the season, but it appears the blocking and the trust in that blocking is far better than it was earlier in the season, too. What are your feelings on the way the run game's going and how Rico's performing in that right now?
Well, everybody talks complimentary football, and I think a lot of it goes, too, with the way our defense is playing. And I think there was just an uneasiness there about defensively. We were having a hard time after the Cleveland game stopping the run and, giving up quite a few points. And, we just weren't, committed to the run. I think we felt like we were always, playing, from behind and needing to score and didn't commit to the running game. I think, when you commit to the running game, I think it settles everything down. And I think that's what we've done the last month. And, I know we lost the Cincinnati game, but, we're putting together, good games where the defense is playing well, the offense is running the football, and, taking the big passing plays that are there with CD and Ferguson and Schoonmaker and the rest of the receiving core. Obviously, Turk's playing a huge role in this, both special teams and on offense. But, I just think we're playing complementary football, and I don't think we were doing that very well, leading up to this stretch.
I like that you're talking about the defense right now, too, because I wanted to dig in a little bit. Leofau, I'm very curious, when you initially got him, obviously he's playing a little more due to injury right now, but when you initially drafted this guy, what was the vision for him, and maybe how's that changed from what you initially saw for him early?
I don't think a lot's changed. I think we've recognized his skill set. I think it's just getting him, in the right situation to, really optimize his skill set. He's obviously plays with a lot of energy. He plays with a lot of physicality. We always thought he could, rush the passer and help us from a linebacking spot, not with his hand in the ground like Micah, but a blitzing type guy. And, he and Overshone, I think, are both, good young backers that are going to do a lot of good things. I think Mike has a vision that at some point, getting your hands around being the green dot and calling the plays is something that, one of those guys, but probably in particular, he's eyeballing Marist, can do for us. And, like I said, this guy just plays with a ton of energy. He plays with a ton of physicality, punching out balls and, just a playmaker for us. And, the vision with him and Overshone certainly makes you feel good about that position as we move forward as well. So, hats off to Marist to step up, with Overshone being out, but obviously we see those guys playing together in the future.
It might be just about yesterday, it might be about the entire year, but another standout yesterday, Oso Digizua. He doesn't always get just the nature of his position isn't always the most flashy position, but yesterday felt like a game where the flash was there to go along with the substance, did it not?
Well, you really felt it. I agree with you guys. I mean, whether it was tackles for losses, sacks, lots of pressure. I think he's, between Zim, putting our guys figuring out what Zim wants to accomplish and then Zim figuring out what our guys do well. That's part of growing pains when you have to change coordinators. And certainly hats off to Dan for getting that commander's job. So, we had to make a change, and we have a ton of respect for Mike, and this thing was going to evolve. I think the hard part was, unfortunately, we just, didn't have the offensive production that we've had in the past early. And, it just took a minute for our defense to really.
All right, so here's where you get the plausible deniability. They're already saying, well, Mike Zimmer needed time to get his new defense together. The offense, of course, was slower getting started. So this is where you could say Mike Zimmer seems to be okay. And now the questions are why did the offense start out slow? I'm going to say the running game. We tried running back by committee. And I'm going to say having CD Lamb literally coming in at the last minute where he wasn't able to work out with the team are contributing factors to problems with the offense. But also, too, we were averaging 37 points given up a game, which literally our defense did not force in a couple of games a single punt.
Mash and come around, but I think certainly I think everybody's figuring out what Coach Zimmer wants out of them. I think he's figuring out what our personnel can be. And, it's really coming around, which in turn, I'll go back to that term. Everybody wants to talk complementary football in all three phases. And, had Coach McCarthy certainly leading the way, figuring that out with the staff between special teams, defense, and offense. I just think we're doing a much better job of that. Consequently, we're executing better and making plays and giving ourselves opportunities to win these football games.
when Zimmer got here, the initial question was, can him and Micah work together? Can that relationship work and him figure out how to use Micah the right way for this team? And it looks like Micah's taken to it and said, you know what, you're going to want to line me up at the 3 technique? I'll line up at the 3 technique. And it looks like he's doing all those things, and that relationship has really come into a full force. Are you seeing that thing is developed over this season?
Absolutely. I mean, that's right to the points I was just talking about. I think Micah's figuring out what Zim wants from him, and Zim's figuring out all the unique things Micah can do to help you play great defensive football. And Micah's embracing it. Coach Zimmer's embracing it. Obviously, this defense started coming around for some reason when 11 showed back up. And I don't think that's by accident. He's just a game wrecker. And he's certainly dynamic in every form. And, it's just great to have him back out there, but he makes everybody around him better, whether it's an Oso, whether it's a Overshone or a Marist, whether it's our secondary. Everybody feeds off number 11, and, the plays he makes, it's just certainly the other teams have to pay attention. We're getting the pressures now. We're getting the turnovers now. Things are coming around. And like I said, we've had our challenges with injuries. We know no one should use it as an excuse, and we know it's the world's smallest violin. No one feels sorry for you, but certainly this team's a much better football team than it was the first half of the season.
Stephen, we did get a little bit of maybe a mixed messages over this weekend where it's you made the comment about, hey, we do have to realistically look at everything, and there was some suggestions about Micah. Micah said he sounds, he understands the business side of it. Would you like to kind of clear that up a little bit and how that all went down?
Well, it'd be like saying you had a thought about Tony Romo at one point in time, or a thought about Dak, or a thought about, when guys are, they're going to be, take a lot of resources to keep on the team, and certainly with Dak and CD and Micah, but they're also very deserving of their ask. And that's what I meant by that. We see Micah as a Cowboy, for long term. And like I said, all you got to do is look at the football games and see what he does for us when he's healthy and out there making plays, and then have the vision of what it can be when we get when we get guys back, whether it's a Sam Williams, a Marist coming on now. You obviously Overshone. You get Diggs. He's had to play banged up now for 2 years, but you can certainly see a vision for what can be with Micah, and that's what we're focused on. And we've said all along that our goal here was to sign all 3 of those guys, and that's still our goal.
You see him walking that back, right? You see him kind of trying to clean that up. Oh, I was just comparing it to, the financial side of it and things like that. But, basically saying, no, we're going to get this thing done. And for me, I need them. Don't drag this thing out. Don't do it. Get this thing done and out of here. So we're not focusing on this every single day of the off season. I don't want him holding out in training camp or OTAs. I want him there every day that he can to get better and to learn Mike Zimmer's system.
I'm curious when you talk about Trayvon Diggs. Obviously, he's had a rough run of luck with injuries, and you said he's had to play banged up for the last 2 years. Did he just re-injure himself during the season? Was there something in the rehab process that didn't go right to facilitate this new surgery?
I just think it can be symptomatic of coming off injuries. And, obviously, he had a major knee surgery and injury last year. And, he was, having to play with, fluid in his knee and out there doing everything he can because he wants to play, he wants to compete, he wants to contribute. But, unfortunately, he re-injured that knee, or not re-injured. He's got a new injury that has to do with cartilage, but certainly a very legitimate injury that's going to take him some time to recover from. And, we've got a vision that we can get him ready to go for next year. But, I know it's very frustrating to him. And certainly it's hard when you have a vision of two all-pro corners out there that are two of the best at getting the ball, Bland and Diggs, and putting them with a competitor like Jordan Lewis. And, we basically have seen bits and pieces of a game or two where they've all three been available. So, but again, that's the challenges that come with the NFL. We accept that, and we'll continue to, get Diggs ready to roll, and hopefully we'll see that. Unfortunately, probably it won't be before next year, but hopefully we'll see it next year.
And you might have no idea at this point. When you say hopefully by next year, are we talking training camp? Are we talking by the beginning of the regular season? What do you think about that?
Yeah, all of those are the questions. And I don't think he'll be a player during training camp, but, I think his timeline is going to be right about the start of the season. And I think we got one of the best training staffs in the league. And certainly they've been put to the test this year. Yep. A lot of players in line back there to work. I think Adam and I were looking the other day, our cap guy, and he's I think we got 40% of our payroll on IR right now. So,
ouch.
That's hard to, it's a challenge to go out there and play at the highest level when you've got, those kind of resources sitting on the sideline. But we also know that's part of the NFL.
So, Steven, I believe Friday night you saw the Highland Park Scots beat Denton Geyer to go to the state championship game. And Highland Park is usually always, come playoff time, they're usually always slower and smaller, and I'd say, less talented than the other team. Not saying Highland Park doesn't have talent, but usually they're slower, smaller, less talented, but yet they always seem to win, especially at the 5A level, and make it into a state championship game. You can speak on that, but my question is, when it comes to NFL, I know there's not a website out there that says this is the smartest team and this is the dumbest team, but is there a way that you could kind of quantify that and go, hey, how do we become the smartest team in the NFL? Because Highland Park, I know it's a different level, but they're the smartest team. That's why they're in another state championship game.
Well, I think, at the end of the day, we call it over at Highland Park, being a parent of a player that played on two teams that won state championships. We used to say, once you get to about the, second, third round, you start to lose every warm-up. You look down at the other team warming up, and you say, how in the hell are we going to win this game? But I will say this. I think every coach in the NFL, college, high school, wants to have the smartest team. Now, at some point, being the smartest team runs out, and skill can overtake you, and so you need both. But you're always striving for your team to play smart, to get rid of the mental errors, to get rid of the not getting your mental assignments right, getting the penalties out of the game. That's how you win championships, and I know that's what Mike strives for. It's so frustrating when you're not getting that job done in terms of cleaning up the penalties and cleaning up the mental errors and assignments. Those are all things that whether you're trying to win a Lombardi Trophy, a college football championship in the NCAA or high school football, you're always trying to clean that up. And it is a great recipe to win football games, is being the smartest and the cleanest team. Thank you very much for the time, good sir. Congrats on.
All right, so there we have it. We definitely have Stephen Jones trying to walk back some of the things that have kind of blown back on him. The one that they didn't touch on, of course, is the things are going to be tight. Things are going to be tight was not talked and addressed in there, but definitely basically saying, oh, no, we love Micah, and, the plan was to sign him, Dak, and CD, and that plan is still enacting. I just hope and pray that they do this thing quickly, get this thing done. I'm tired of them, rolling out these things and taking forever, and the contracts end up stinking. If you're going to make a terrible contract, at least make it quickly. Don't keep us holding. Alrighty, good people. We will see you guys a little later. We got 2 games this Monday night, so will be watching Monday Night Football. Not the greatest games in the world, but it's football. And we only have 3 more weeks after this week of the regular season. So football season is winding down. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you. Peace.